Let's get something straight. Your value is not up for debate. It is not determined by how much attention someone gives you, how many messages they reply to, or how often they acknowledge your presence. Your worth is inherent. It is built from within, not assigned by external validation. But the problem? Too many people are begging for what they already deserve. Think about it. How often do people chase love, approval, or recognition like it's some kind of prize they have to earn? How many times have you seen someone lower their standards, compromise their dignity, and settle for breadcrumbs of attention just because they're afraid of being alone? That ends today. The moment you beg, you tell the world, I don't believe I'm enough. You send a message, whether you realize it or not, that you need to convince someone to want you. And that's the biggest lie you could ever believe. You are not here to convince, you are not here to prove, you are here to be. And when you truly step into that belief, you'll notice something powerful. People treat you differently. The way you carry yourself dictates the way the world responds to you. Confidence is silent, desperation is loud. When you walk into a room with certainty, with presence, with a deep knowing of your own worth, people feel it. They respect it. But when you seek validation from external sources, when you beg for attention, when you allow yourself to be an option instead of a priority, this is why self-worth is everything. Look at the people who command respect effortlessly. Are they chasing? Are they pleading? Are they bending over backward for those who won't even meet them halfway? No, they don't need to. Their energy alone demands attention. Their actions prove that they value themselves, and in return they attract people who value them. But what does this look like in real life? It looks like walking away from people who treat you as a second choice. It looks like knowing when to stop texting someone who never initiates. It looks like refusing to lower your standards just to feel wanted for a moment. It looks like saying, I know my worth, and I will not negotiate it for temporary comfort. This isn't arrogance. This isn't playing games. This is a deep, unshakable understanding of your own value. Imagine for a moment that you are a rare, priceless artifact. Would a museum beg someone to take care of it? Would a collector chase people down the street, asking them to appreciate its worth? No. The artifact exists in its full value, and only those who recognize its rarity and significance will seek it out. You are that artifact. You don't need to convince someone to see your value. You don't need to beg someone to choose you. The right people will see it, will feel it, and will treat you accordingly. And the wrong people, they will fall away. Let them. Because the truth is, when you truly embrace your worth, you stop fearing loss. Most people cling to relationships, friendships, jobs, and situations that no longer serve them because they fear that without them they will be less. But here's the truth. Letting go of what doesn't respect you isn't a loss. It's a gain. It's the removal of dead weight. It's the clearing of space for something better. It's the ultimate declaration that you will no longer beg for what is already yours by right. The world will test you. It will put people in your life who ignore your boundaries, who make you feel like an afterthought, who give you just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to truly nourish you. These moments are your test. Will you accept less? Will you beg for more? Or will you stand in your power and say, I deserve better? There's nothing more powerful than someone who knows their worth and refuses to beg. Because the moment you stop chasing, stop pleading, and stop seeking external validation, something shifts. You become magnetic. You attract respect, admiration, and genuine connections, not because you begged for them, but because you became the type of person who naturally draws them in. So the next time you feel the urge to send that extra message, to fight for someone's attention, or to prove your worth, pause, ask yourself, Would someone who truly values themselves do this? If the answer is no, then you already know what you need to do. Because self-worth isn't proven through effort. It's proven through presence. Chasing is a signal. It's a message you send not just to the world, but to yourself. And what does it say? It says, I need to prove I'm worth it. It says, what I want is out of my reach, and I have to work harder to get it. But that's not the mindset of someone who knows their value. That's the mindset of scarcity. And scarcity repels. Now, let's break this down. When you chase something, a person, an opportunity, a dream, what's really happening? You're putting all your energy into getting it instead of becoming the type of person who naturally attracts it. You're externalizing your power, placing it in something outside of you instead of recognizing that everything you desire already exists within. Look at the people who effortlessly attract what they want. Are they running after others, seeking validation, proving themselves? No. They are aligned. Their energy, their confidence, their presence, these things do the work for them. They don't need to chase because what they desire is drawn to them. But the moment you chase, you shift the dynamic. You become the one who is doing the convincing. And the person or thing you're after, it moves further away. Think about it. Have you ever seen a cat run after a bird? The faster it runs, the faster the bird flies away. That's human nature, too. The more you chase, the less valuable you appear. The more desperate your energy, the less people feel compelled to invest in you. This applies to every area of life. In relationships, chasing destroys attraction. When you pursue someone who is indifferent, who isn't matching your energy, who isn't investing in you the way you invest in them, you communicate one thing. You believe they are above you. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, that's what your actions are saying. And when someone senses that you view them as a prize to be won, their instinct isn't to respect you more, it's to pull away. But when you stop chasing, when you stop overextending, stop initiating every conversation, stop bending over backward to be noticed, everything changes. The dynamic shifts because suddenly they feel the loss of your presence. They realize they're no longer the center of your world. And if they're truly interested, they step up. If not, they disappear. And that's your answer. In business and success, chasing weakens your position. Think about the most powerful people in any industry. Do they beg for opportunities? Do they desperately try to convince others to believe in them? No. They exude certainty. They know what they bring to the table. They operate with confidence, not from a place of needing approval. And because of that, people come to them. Scarcity is unattractive in every form. If you believe opportunities are limited, that you have to scramble for success, that you must chase money, recognition, or success, you will always feel like you're lacking. And when you feel like you're lacking, you act in ways that push what you want even further away. But when you embody success, when you move as if you already have everything you desire, people take notice. It's not arrogance, it's self-assurance. And that self-assurance makes people want to work with you, buy from you, and believe in you. Chasing is exhausting, attracting is effortless. One requires constant action, effort, and struggle. The other requires presence, confidence, and alignment. The reason chasing feels so draining is because it's unnatural. It goes against your power. It places you in a position of inferiority, of neediness, of trying to get instead of simply being. And here's the real truth. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You don't have to convince people who are aligned with you to notice you. The right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances, they come when you show up as the person who is already worthy of them. So ask yourself, Are you spending more time running towards something or becoming the type of person who naturally draws it in? Because in the end, chasing is a symptom of not yet believing you are enough. Silence is one of the most powerful forms of communication. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't try to convince, it simply exists. And in that existence, it speaks volumes. The problem is, most people are afraid of silence. They feel the need to fill every gap, to keep the conversation going, to reach out, to check in, to remind others of their presence. But let me tell you something. The moment you stop talking, you learn everything you need to know. Think about it. How many times have you been the one who always reaches out first? The one who keeps the connection alive, the one who double texts, follows up, makes sure things don't fade away. And how many times has that effort been met with indifference, with slow responses, with inconsistent energy? Here's the truth. If someone values you, they will show up for you. If they don't, they won't. It's that simple. But when you're constantly the one putting in the work, you never get to see the truth. You never allow the space for real answers to emerge. Silence is a test, and most people are too afraid to use it. They'd rather hold on to an illusion than face reality. They'd rather convince themselves that if they just try a little harder, push a little more, prove their worth just one more time, things will change. But that's not how it works. When you stop reaching out, when you stop filling in the gaps, when you stop being the one to keep things alive, the truth becomes clear. Some people will notice your absence and step up. Others will let the connection die without a second thought. And that's exactly the answer you need. Because someone who genuinely values you, someone who truly wants you in their life, will not need to be reminded to make an effort. This is why silence is louder than words. Words can be faked. Energy cannot. Someone can tell you they care, they miss you, they want you in their life, but if their actions don't align, it means nothing. And when you stop talking, when you remove yourself from the equation, when you stop giving them something to respond to, their actions, or lack thereof, will reveal everything. People who are truly invested don't need to be chased. They don't need to be prompted. They don't need constant validation to remember you exist. They will make an effort because they want to. And if they don't, then no amount of texting, calling, or reaching out will change that. But silence doesn't just apply to relationships, it applies to life. When you stop over-explaining yourself, you reclaim your power. How many times have you tried to justify your decisions, explain why you're walking away, prove your worth to someone who didn't see it? That ends the moment you understand that real power is in silence. You don't owe explanations to people who don't respect you. You don't have to convince anyone of your value. You don't have to argue with people who don't see your vision. Silence commands respect. The most confident people in the world don't need to talk excessively to be heard. They don't need to argue to prove a point. Their presence alone does the work. They know that their energy, their actions, and their standards speak for themselves. And when they choose silence, it's not because they have nothing to say. It's because they don't need to say anything at all. When someone mistreats you, silence is the answer. When someone ignores you, silence is the answer. When someone disrespects you, silence is the answer. Not anger, not begging, not chasing, just silence. Because silence does what words cannot. It forces the other person to confront their own actions. It shifts the dynamic. It creates a void, a space, where they have to decide for themselves if they want to step up or step away. And whatever they choose, that's your answer. Most people think that silence is passive, that it's weak. But in reality, silence is one of the strongest moves you can make. It shows that you are in control, that you do not need to force anything, that you trust yourself enough to walk away when necessary. But the key is to stand firm in it. If you go silent only to break it a few days later, the message is lost. If you stop reaching out but then cave because you feel uncomfortable, you haven't truly committed to it. Silence only works when it's backed by true self-worth. At the end of the day, the people who want to be in your life will make the effort. The opportunities that are meant for you will come. The respect you deserve will be given. And if it's not, then silence is your answer. Life is not a game. Your time, your energy, your emotions, they are not things to be played with. Yet so many people waste years caught up in unnecessary drama, toxic cycles, and manipulative mind games. They entertain people who string them along. They invest in situations that go nowhere, and they let distractions pull them away from their real purpose. That stops now. When you decide to stop playing games, you make a choice. You choose yourself. You choose to invest in your own growth instead of wasting energy on things that don't serve you. You choose clarity over confusion, purpose over distractions, and self-respect over desperation. But let's be real. Games are addicting. They keep you engaged. They keep you hoping, waiting, guessing. That's why people fall into them. That's why they chase people who don't fully choose them. That's why they keep giving chances to situations that have already shown their true colors. There's an illusion that if you just play the game a little longer, you'll win. But you don't win by playing, you win by stepping out. The moment you refuse to participate, you take back your power. Look at relationships. How many times have you seen people get caught up in toxic cycles? One person pulls away, the other chases. One person acts indifferent, the other tries harder. It's a push and pull, a constant battle of ego and validation. And for what? A temporary sense of control? A moment of attention? That's not real connection. That's manipulation. When you stop playing games, you no longer tolerate inconsistency. You no longer entertain mixed signals. You no longer waste time deciphering what someone's actions mean. Because real interest is clear, real effort is consistent, and real love doesn't require strategy. This applies to success too. People play games with their potential. They procrastinate, they make excuses, they convince themselves that they have time, but time is the one thing you never get back. Every second spent playing games, whether in relationships, work, or personal growth, is a second stolen from your future. You don't have time to engage in meaningless drama. You don't have time to lower your standards for people who don't meet you halfway. You don't have time to entertain things that aren't aligned with your purpose. Because while you're distracted, while you're caught up in situations that drain you, someone else is out there focused, disciplined, and building the life you say you want. Maturity is knowing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. When you stop playing games, you move differently. You stop waiting for people to change. You stop hoping that if you just try harder, things will be different. You stop allowing inconsistency to be part of your life. Instead, you invest in yourself. You focus on your growth. You set boundaries. You raise your standards. And when people see that they can no longer manipulate you, they either step up or step out. Either way, you win. But here's the catch. Walking away from games requires discipline. It requires emotional control. It requires you to resist the urge to engage, to respond, to prove yourself. Because the moment you fall back into the cycle, you lose your power again. Most people are addicted to validation. They need the attention, the back and forth, the highs and lows. They mistake that emotional roller coaster for passion when really it's just dysfunction. When you commit to no longer playing games, you have to be willing to sit with discomfort. You have to be okay with silence. You have to trust that removing yourself from toxic cycles is what creates space for something real. No more begging, no more chasing, no more texting first when it's not reciprocated. No more engaging in anything that doesn't align with your worth. When you stop playing games, you force the world to respect you. You show people that you will not settle for less than you deserve. You become untouchable.